process, pivot, proceed. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that stuck out to me when you were talking to the audience. Walk me through that. What does that mean?
That means in life, you can't control everything that happens to you. Mm-hmm. You can control how you react to it. So last year, this is 25, so in 23, I get a divorce, start divorce proceedings. Mm-hmm. I can let that stop me and look at the failure of it, or I can take the lesson of it, and the lesson is I'm 100% responsible for everything that happens to me. 100% responsible. Mm-hmm. That I can process everything that happens to me, or I can get into a woe is me state. Mm-hmm. Now, if I'm 100% responsible, let me see the lesson in that. And the lesson is, you saw a long time ago, you didn't act on it because it's like, well, it's going to change. And you don't deal with what you know to be true. Mm-hmm. And so it is what it is. So what you going to do? You got to pivot. Mm-hmm. And where are you going to put that energy? Where are you going to go with this? And proceed with a sense of passion and urgency so that you can rebuild, redo, put it back together, take responsibility for who, what you are and your thing. So therefore, you then activate, you write that book, you intentionally put work out there. Mm-hmm. And let people know you want to work, and then you start working, and then you start working, and you start working, and you get yourself back on a track and a rhythm. Yeah. That was already there to begin with, but it went dormant.
Mm. So you were mentioning the divorce that you experienced. Mm. How were you able to accept that you were at fault, that you mentioned yesterday?
It wasn't that I was at fault, because that's to say that someone else wasn't. It's in terms of accepting responsibility of the result. Mm-hmm. There's no fault in that. There's a recognition that you, in this case, are 100% owner of your part of it, and now you have to adjust and move on so that you're not stuck in blaming other people. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a scapegoat situation to put the blame on someone else over something that didn't work. And the point of this discussion is more about processing and moving on. Mm-hmm. So that you're not stuck in, trying to justify why it didn't work. Mm-hmm. It didn't work. So what do you do with that energy? Accept it. And life is really about how you turn chicken into chicken salad. How you turn manure into fertilizer. That's what life is.
That's real.
Ben Hogan, one of the great golfers of all time, said, golf is not about hitting perfect shots. Mm-hmm. It's about making the best of the bad shots. How do you turn the next shot into a workable shot, rather than trying to heroically do something that's going to save you and so you can save par? No, you might have to take the bogey, but keep it moving. Yeah. Don't try to compound your mistakes. Mm. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So experiencing divorce, is that how you did that help you find your character in Divorce in Black, some way, somehow?
you use everything.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just that. I have enough trauma in my life. I can, you know, I can use so many things as a source of motivation. You know, but yeah, I mean, it adds to. It's a little flavor. It's
Yeah.
you know, it's a little Frank's hot sauce, Louisiana. It puts a little bit on there. You know what I mean? But I got a whole bunch of other stuff that you know. It's just you look at certain aspects of life. You know what I mean? I'm grateful for all of that experience.
You
Grateful.
learn a lot from it.
Yeah, you learn about yourself. You learn to listen to yourself and follow your impulses and your instincts.
Yes, sir. So I want, you have a book that just came out.
Yeah.
We were the first to have it. Thank you.
Yeah, you were first.
So
It was unveiled here.
Yes, thank you. So what can readers expect to find out in this book about Richard Lawson?
More importantly, they'll find out how to negotiate life, career, and handle the road of living, of lifing, of while creating a career in art and anything else.
Yeah.
You know, is how do you negotiate that road? How do you recognize your talents and your abilities and your skill? How do you honor that? How do you celebrate? How do you find the passion to keep it moving? How do you create the right environment, culture, community? How do you self-care, meaning how do you put the stuff up and surround yourself with, you know, with positive memories, with celebrations, with a team, with a culture, with an environment?
Yeah.
How do you do that, which takes care of you along the way?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you take care of them along the way so that there is a collaboration. And how do you process this marathon? It's a marathon. This is a marathon.
Yeah.
And it's seasons are going to change.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you're in, sometimes you're out. And how do you negotiate the next phase of what you got to do? You know what I mean? This is another phase, this book, and getting this book and taking this book around and getting this book into institutions all over the country. You know, they so graciously want to use this book for freshmen, so we've been talking about, right, as kind of a textbook. Well, I want that to happen all over this country, that this is a textbook, especially for young people, to get started properly in this life, or, you know, find a path that has a reality to it where they look at their dream and they're on a direction rather than floating without a rudder. You know, the interesting thing is that you go to school 4 years and you pay a fortune for education for 8 years or however many, and then you spend half of your life paying for the education in terms of student loans, and you wind up doing 10% or less of what you've been trained to do. All those courses you took, how much of that will you actually use?
Yeah.
This, by understanding which road you're on, then the stuff that you are taking in specifically feeds that journey and not this shotgun pattern.
Yeah. That's deep. Lastly, I would like to ask you, what's next for Richard Lawson?
To continue on the path that I'm on. I love what I'm doing. And I think what I'm doing, you know, one of my students just called me, him and his mother. He's been with me since he was 9. He's now 16. And I don't know if they officially announced it yet, but a very big person has given him a scholarship to go to any school in the country that he wants to go, full ride, with everything taken care of, beyond the 4 years. So this person believes in the art that he has created and believes in his potential as a young human being. And he filled out his doing, he created it, and now he's checking these boxes off. And now he's pretty much fit for life because he has the support of one of the most powerful people in the country. And he followed the teaching. And who he is because I allowed him into the community of older actors because he was able to keep pace. He knows more than most of the people in there because he listened and he kept his ears open, and he's a great student. I want to continue doing stuff like that. That's what's next for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue working as an actor. I'm going to continue writing. This is the first of 5 books. I'm going to continue doing all that. But if I can, and I have a number of students like that, same age, they all started 12, 13. To create, to water those plants and to watch those plants grow, there's nothing greater in life.
Yes, sir. I appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Yes.